Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the PWHL draft, and now, oh my goodness, I just realized that it says PHWL on my screen. It's confusing, but the PWHL draft, and now we're going to recap recent WNBA games. We have a total of 14 games to talk about, and we're just going to start with the games on Friday, June 7th. We're just going to get right into it. Okay, so first game we got to talk about is Indiana Fever v. Washington. Oh my goodness, my bad, guys. Washington Mystics. Okay, so the Fever won the game 85-83. Caitlin Clark had her second 30-point performance during this game. She also had a total of 8 rebounds and 6 assists. To be honest, don't be mad at me for saying this, but sometimes it does feel like Clark is the entire team for the Fever. She is the main scorer, and it just shocks me how much work she does on the court, and then her teammates just don't score as much, rebound as much. It just seems like she's a higher level than the rest of her teammates sometimes. I know, like, there's other people like Aya Edwards and stuff who are at that level as well, but sometimes just based, if you just look at stats, like, it's pretty insane. Like, sometimes it feels like she's just so far ahead. Anyway, Kelsey Mitchell also did have a pretty good game, scoring 16 points. Also on Friday was the Seattle Storm v. Las Vegas Aces games. I thought the Aces were getting their groove back, but unfortunately it does not seem that way. The Storm won the game 78-65. Jewel Lloyd stood out on the Storm, scoring 25 points and recording 9 rebounds. Izzy Maybegor dominated in rebounds with a total of 15. Even though the Aces lost, Asia Wilson was a star player, scoring 29 points and recording 11 rebounds. The third game on Friday was the Dallas Wings v. Los Angeles Sparks. The Sparks won 81-72. I'm a huge Wings fan, but I'm happy to see that the Sparks have their groove back. I'm also a Sparks fan too, but I guess when it comes down to the two, I'm going to probably pick the Dallas Wings. But anyway, Enrique Ungamboale obviously was the leader on the Wings team, scoring 22 points, and Monique Billings led in rebounds and recording 12 rebounds total. Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson, 2 rookies on the Sparks team, did really well this game. Brink scored 10 points and had 10 rebounds, and Rickea Jackson scored 8 points. Derica Hamby led the Sparks with 22 points. The last game on Friday was the Minnesota Lynx v. Phoenix Mercury, and this was a super close game. Mercury won 81-80. In the first quarter, Mercury was leading at 21-15, and then by the third quarter, the Lynx were able to catch back up and lead at 60-54. But in the fourth quarter, the Mercury came back and finished at 81 points, and the Lynx finished at 80 points. It was such a close game, and it was really fun to watch because it went back and forth. Kayla McBride scored 25 points for the Lynx, and Nafisa Collier scored 20. On the Mercury, Kalia Copper was a star player with 34 points. This was, again, another great game for her, with her exceeding 30 points. Let's talk about Saturday, June 8th games. The New York Liberty and Connecticut Sun went head-to-head, and this was a good game. The Liberty came out on top at a final score of 82-75. Jonquil Jones and Sabrina Ionescu led the Liberty with 22 and 24 points, respectively. While Ionescu was already one of the WNBA's best guards last year, she has improved even further this season, and she was sent to the bench by head coach Sandy Bordello after a turnover on Saturday. Ionescu was asked about what went into her head and the Liberty's strong fourth quarter by a reporter post-game, and her response expressed some frustration with the benching. Ionescu responded to this frustrating moment with an excellent fourth quarter, so her coach clearly knew what she was doing. Also on Saturday was the Atlantic Dream v. Chicago Sky game. Chyna Charles scored 22 points. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus added 18, and the Atlanta Dream beat the Chicago Sky 89-80. Alicia Gray scored 14 points for Atlanta, and Ariel Powers scored 11. Ryan Howard finished with 10 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds. Diamond Day Shields hit a pull-up jumper to make it 4 to a minute into the game, but Chicago missed 6 consecutive shots and committed 3 turnovers as the Dream ripped off a 15-2 run, capped when Gray made back-to-back 3-pointers before Angel Reese made a layup that cut the Sky's deficit to 17-8 almost 5 minutes later. Reese finished with 13 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 steals. This was her 3rd consecutive double-double and her 4th of the season for Chicago. Camila Cardoso and Dana Evans also scored 13 points apiece, and Marina Mabrey added 12. Moving on to Sunday, June 9th, the Liberty beat the Mystics 93-88. Jonquil Jones almost hit a total of 30 points this game. She scored a total of 29 points, which was super impressive. Maisha Hines-Allen had a good game as well, scoring 20 points for the Mystics, but the Mystics were just not able to keep up with the Liberty. Mercury v. Wings. Kalea Copper scored 8 of her 29 points in the second overtime. Brittany Griner finished with 24 points, and the Phoenix Mercury just overall beat the Dallas Wings 97-90. Griner made 11 of 16 from the field, grabbed 9 rebounds with 5 assists and 2 blocks. Dana Taurasi added 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. Agamboale led Dallas with 25 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, and 4 steals. Wings rookie Sevgi Uzan hit a 3-pointer that trimmed the Wings deficit to 89-88, but with 2 minutes 34 seconds remaining to play. But Natasha Cloud answered with 2 free throws, and Teresi hit a pull-up jumper before Tiara McCowan was called for a technical and fouled out when she pushed Teresi with just under a minute to play. Copper made the technical free throw and then hit a 3-pointer to make it 97-88 with 52 seconds left. It was a close game. Storm v. Lynx. The Lynx dominated the Storm 83-64. Jewel Lloyd was again really great for the Storm, scoring 25 points and recording 7 rebounds. For the Lynx, Kayla McBride was dominant, scoring 32 points, and Nafisa Collier dominated rebounds at a total of 14. The last game on Sunday was the best game to start this week. This was a great way to start the week with this game. It was the Las Vegas Aces v. Los Angeles Sparks. The Sparks beat the Aces 96-92. Derica Hamby finished with 18 points and 10 rebounds, and Ari McDonald scored 16 off the bench. Hamby sank 6 of 10 shots with a 3-pointer and 5 of 6 free throws for the Sparks, who won back-to-back games for the first time this season. McDonald made 5 of 8 shots, 2 from behind the arc, and all 4 for foul shots. And then Rikia Jackson pitched in with 16 points and 5 rebounds for the Sparks. Asia Wilson had 31 points, 3 above her league high average, to lead the Aces, who have lost 3 of their last 4 games before this game. Wilson has now scored at least 20 points in 14 straight games, breaking a league record set by Deanna Taurasi of the Phoenix Mercury. Wilson, who averages a league best 12 rebounds, grabbed 8 this game, and then Kelsey Plum hit 4 3-pointers, scoring 24 with 5 assists. Tiffany Hayes added 17 points, and Kate Martin scored 13. Wilson scored the first 5 points, and Martin and Plum hit back-to-back 3-pointers to cap a 14-0 run to begin the game for Las Vegas. Los Angeles erased all of a deficit that reached 15 when Cameron Brink hit the first of 2 free throws, knotting the score at 28 with 6 minutes, 27 seconds left before halftime. Jackson made a turnaround jumper to give LA its first lead 6 seconds later. Martin had a layup and a 3-pointer to put the Aces up by 3, but Hamby answered with a layup, and the Marks trailed 44-43 at intermission. Wilson drew a technical foul with 9 seconds left of the third period, and that led to 2 free throws by Lexi Brown and a layup by McDonald, giving the Sparks a 74-65 advantage heading to the fourth quarter. Hayes then scored 6 points, and Plum hit a 3-pointer and 2 free throws to cap a 17-4 run as Las Vegas took an 82-78 lead with a little bit over 4 minutes left to play. In the end, the Sparks did end up winning. It was such a close game, such a fun game to watch. I think one of the main reasons the Aces continue to struggle is because Chelsea Gray is out with a foot injury. I think once she gets back and recover, I think that'll help the team a lot, to be honest. Just having that other person even just on the bench and as an option. So now moving on to Monday, June 10th, there was only one game, and that was the Fever v Sun game. Okay. Someone just asked, what's your favorite sports movie? But I don't want to distract you. No, you're good. You guys can ask questions. I like to interrupt myself. I'm going to say Karate Kid. I don't know if it's considered a sports movie, but I just watched it again recently, and I'm sorry, but it's like in my head right now, and that's like the best answer I'm gonna do right now on what's my favorite sports movie. And you know what? I'm considering that a sports movie. Karate Kid. It's karate. Karate's a sport. That's a sports movie. There you go. Okay, so Indiana Fever v Connecticut Sun game. Gianna Carrington scored a season-high 22 points. Dawana Bonner added 17, and then the Sun eased past the Fever 89-72 for their 11th straight win in the series. Indiana star Caitlin Clark finished with her 4th fewest points of the season, going 3 of 8 from the field for 10 points. All in the first half. She picked up her 4th foul with a little more than 4 minutes left of the third quarter and did not play in the final period. Tyasha Harris and Breonna Jones each added 11 for Connecticut. Tiffany Mitchell added 10 points, and Alyssa Thomas had 7 points, 18 rebounds, and 7 assists. Aliyah Boston had 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists for her second double-double this season for Indiana. Lexi Hole added 10 points off the bench. I also was just realizing this right now earlier when I was talking about how Clark is just so much ahead of her team, and I brought up Aliyah Edwards, I think it was. I meant to bring up Aliyah Boston. My bad. Okay, yesterday there were a couple of games. The Mystics and Dream went head-to-head, and the Mystics came out on top 87-68. Oh my gosh, someone just said I love the Mighty Ducks movies. Oh my gosh, I've watched those movies so many times. I totally forgot about them. Not forgot about them, but just oh my gosh, that's such a classic. I like those movies a lot. That's a fair opinion. Okay, so the Mystics pretty much just led the game this entire time. They were just always ahead. They started out ahead and finished ahead, so they were gonna win the game. Ariel Atkins and Brittany Skies both scored 18 points, leading the Mystics to their wins, but there were so many players that did amazing. There wasn't really one player that was truly a standout, if that makes sense. Okay, so the Lynx v Aces game was such a good game as well. Oh my gosh, this game ended in a final score of 100-86 with the Lynx winning. It was a good game. The Aces are seriously not having a good run right now, and it makes me really sad. All 5 Minnesota starters scored in double figures. Nafisa Collier scored 14 points and recording 6 rebounds and 6 assists. Alana Smith scored 18 points. Bridget Carlton scored 15 points and recorded 5 rebounds. Kayla McBride scored 16 points and recorded 4 rebounds and 8 assists. And lastly, Courtney Williams scored 15 points and recorded 4 rebounds and 9 assists. Minnesota dominated the second and third quarters, outscoring the Aces 49-29 en route to holding on to the 3rd best record in the league. Asia Wilson scored 28 points to lead the Aces, but fellow Olympian Kelsey Plum was held to 13 points on 4 of 13 shooting. Alicia Clark and Jaxie Young were both held to 6 points. The last game we got to talk about is the Sparks v Storm game. This was an unfortunate loss for the Sparks, losing 95-79. Fresh off being named Western Conference Player of the Week, Derica Hamby had another great game, scoring 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Ari McDonald chipped in with 15 points. Ray Burrell had 8 points with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. Cameron Brink was a defensive powerhouse with 4 blocks to go with 7 points, 4 rebounds, and a steal. Rikia Jackson had a rough game with 3 points and a rebound. At the first time out, the Sparks were down 8. Lexi Brown's instant offense was on full display again as she was subbed in and drilled a quick 3-pointer. A very balanced offensive attack kept LA in it pretty much. Both teams went back and forth pretty much the entire game. After the Storm went up by 5, LA's bench answered back, including a 3-pointer for McDonald to tie the game at the end of the first. The Sparks started the second half strong offensively, but Seattle did a great job keeping itself composed each time the LA Sparks made it a tight game and eventually went back up by 9. I think the main reason why the Sparks lost the game was because of turnovers. LA needs to start aiming for single-digit turnovers to play a cleaner game. The Sparks were in the game most of the night, but mistakes in the fourth took them out of it. It's something to learn from for this long road trip they have, which will be tough, but it's really just the turnovers that I think is something they need to focus on. So now we're going to move on to our next segment where we're going to rank the NWSL teams. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking